Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Blazing Lazers for the Grafx 16. We're going to actually be playing it through the Japanese version dubbed Gunhead for the PC Engine. From what I understand, they're both pretty much the exact same game. So yeah, we're going to be playing Gunhead. Technically Blazing Lazers in North America. This was a game that was developed by Compile, apparently. Guys that were famous for the Alesta series, also known as Space Megaforce on Super Nintendo in North America, Musha on the Sega Genesis, Power Strike on the Master System, and games like that. This actually plays very, very much like an Alesta game, and they actually introduced a lot of new gameplay features in this game that were brought over to Space Megaforce later on the Super Nintendo in particular. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. This is a really, really long game, all things considered. And, yeah. Come on, let's get in. Alright, there we go. So apparently the game is based on a Japanese movie, based on what I've read. I've never seen that movie, Gunhead. So the game is a little wacky in some areas, you know, like you get your generic space stages like this, but then there are other weird levels. There's one level where you're floating through space and just destroying bubbles over and over, and there's one level where you're flying over a desert and shooting the caps of pyramids off, and so levels like that feel quite out of place to me compared to, say, this intro stage where you're flying through space and, you know, hovering over a battleship of some kind or a space station. And you guys will see what I mean once we get to those levels. Maybe you know, those features were in the movie. I don't know, because again, I've never seen the movie. I'm just sort of theorizing here. And yeah, so yeah, a game's based on a movie supposedly that I've never seen. If any of you guys have actually seen it, I'm pretty sure it's probably just a Japanese movie. Let me know how the game compares. I'm really curious, actually. So, all right, you've got a lot of different firepower options in this game, and first off, you have 4 different types of main firepower. I'm using firepower number 3. Here's number 1 right here, and here's number 4 right here. You also have these like secondary firepower options. You've got missile, you've got shield, and then you've got F, which I think it might just stand for like full shot or something like that, because I don't think it just affects your main weapon. I believe that's how it works anyway. So we'll go back to missile, and here's the F. Now, Blazing Lazers is a game very much like the Alesta series. It's an acquired taste. You're gonna either love this game or you're just gonna be kind of lukewarm on the game. And for me, I'm very, very much lukewarm on the game. I don't really like it that much, actually. I know it's gonna sound like sacrilege, because when it comes to TurboGrafx shooters, PC Engine shooters, this is such a highly regarded game. And to me, I just feel it's a boring slog that just goes on forever and ever, and there's very little rhythm or rhyme to what's happening on screen. It's just the same waves of enemies coming at you again and again. The weapon drops really have no rhythm or rhyme either. Again, look at this. They're just, which one do I want? Well, it doesn't really matter, because they're going to give you 2 more probably any minute now, now that they've passed out of the screen. So, those are, you know, some of my basic thoughts on the game. I'm actually playing this, I'm actually doing a Let's Play on it because I played it on stream the other night, and I ran through it without really any trouble at all. And I figured, hey, the game's still fresh in my mind, I might as well do a Let's Play on it. And, okay, there's number 2. Number 2 is a good weapon. And I should mention that one combination I really like in the game, or what I prefer to do in the game, is to grab the shield secondary weapon. And then a lot of times number 3. Number 3 is really good too. I'm not such a fan of number 1. It's usually I prefer the traditional spread shots, especially in like Space Megaforce. But in this game, the traditional spread shot weapon just feels very weak and underwhelming, whereas these other weapons are huge. Like, look at this blast of lightning or lasers or whatever they are. I have no idea what they are. We'll go with lasers, and it works very well. It goes through enemies. It causes a lot of damage, and so that is what I prefer. You do have variety again, like I said, though. You know, you can do any combination that you want. You can do number 4 with the homing power-up, and that sort of affects, you know, how your firepower acts. And I have to admit that is a cool element for a game of this age in particular. It gives you a lot of flexibility to kind of go through the game the way you want. And I think we're maxed out on our main firepower now. So, but yeah, like I was saying, I'm not actually a huge fan of this game. I'm not a huge fan of really any of Compile's shooters, except for Musha on the Sega Genesis. Just Musha was a very consistent package. Everything was there for a reason for the most part, and you know, games like the original Alesta and Blazing Lazers and stuff like that, even Space Megaforce, it's just something about them. Maybe it's the gameplay style. Maybe it's just, you know, those games more so than even Musha. It's just waves and waves of lots of popcorn enemies that die really fast, and weapons just randomly appearing out of nowhere, and you're just kind of like, okay. Music is really hit or miss in this game as well for me. Like, I really like the intro tune for that first level. It's really solid, but then it just goes to this really boring tune. And the game has a tendency of being a little schizophrenic with, you know, how, you know, what the soundtrack is going to be like. It's, you got a really fast, aggressive tune, one level that really fits the fast shoot-'em-up pacing, and then you got a really boring tune the next one. And it keeps bouncing back and forth like that. You've got some really good tunes in the game, but you also have some absolutely awful tunes in the game. And for something like this, where I'm just going to wave back and forth over and over again for the majority of the game, you know, I would like something keeping me interested in the game. So, like a good soundtrack. But, yeah, I've actually never been a huge fan of Compile shmups, you know, and it's not something I really realized until recently, doing my best and worst of SNES shmups video, where I had to play Space Megaforce, and, you know, I put a nice gameplay session onto that to record the footage for that video, and that's when it dawned on me. I was like, I actually don't really like Compile shooters very much. I've played a good majority of them. You know, I played Zanak on the NES, Gunnak on the NES, Musha, Space Megaforce, the Alesta games on the MSX. I believe there was 2 of them. Power Strike on the Master System. Robo Alesta on Sega CD. Yeah, and yeah, I don't really like them that much. I guess they're just not my cup of tea, you know? Like, I love the R-Type series, and I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, so I guess that's how I feel about a lot of Compile shmups, is just they're not my cup of tea, you know? So that doesn't really necessarily make them bad games, but I do find them quite monotonous, Blazing Lazers in particular. And, yeah, I'm gonna shut up, because I sound pretty negative, and I... This wasn't intended to be a Mega Man 5 Let's Play. For those of you guys that don't understand what I mean by that, when I did my Mega Man 5 Let's Play, I pretty much spent the entire gameplay session beating the game from start to finish, but bashing it at the same time around, like, every single corner. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, and so I'm gonna veer away from that. Assuming this level design gives me something interesting to shoot at. So far, it has not. So far, it's still lacking. Looks like this is probably going to be a mini-boss coming up. You can tell by the music fading out. And, I think the game would be, a lot better if there weren't mini-bosses like this. I think they just slow things down. Or if there were mini-bosses, make the level leading up to it like a quarter of the length of what it already is, because the levels just drag on for way too long in this game. And when you got max firepower, the bosses are not really difficult at all until towards the end of the game. So it gives you this jingle, you're like, oh yeah, I beat the level, and then it's like, no, you gotta go through the same thing all over again, pretty much. I mean, it's probably not exactly the same thing, but it's gonna look a lot like it's the same thing. Oh look, yeah, different enemy there, cool. We're mixing things up a little bit. And, yeah. Just these levels go on for eternity, it seems like. Oh, man. So yeah, the Mega Man 5 video, I basically just sat there and I was like, every single screen I was like, this is lame, this is stupid, this is, why did they do this, why did they do that, blah blah blah. Especially for a game like Mega Man, where they had such a great formula for the first handful of games, and then Part 5 takes everything and says, you know what? Yeah, all that variety in the backgrounds and all, like, you know, the catchy music and stuff like that, and, you know, all the personality, we're just gonna suck it out of the game, because nobody wants that. And, so I'm trying to veer away from acting like that with Blazing Lazers, but, man. So, I'm basically just sitting here holding down the fire button. I know I could take the choice and not shoot and just let some things appear on screen. And, you know, that would make things a little more interesting, but, you know, it seems like it's... Whoa! Taking damage! It seems like they have a ton of fun with this game. That's probably what you'd want to do. You'd want to try to go through the whole game without actually shooting at anything. Which kind of defeats the purpose of, you know, a shoot 'em up. But the option is there for those that dare try. Alright, so this guy's got a laser that comes straight down. You need to watch out for that, because it'll kill you pretty quickly. And one of the downsides to this game is that there is a checkpoint system. And if I recall correctly, the checkpoint system is not all that kind. It takes you back quite a ways, and so you've really got to work your way back to the boss, which can be a little annoying, so... And looks like we took care of him. And that's it. Area 2 clear. I want to say there are 9 areas in the game, so we're not even, you know, a quarter of the way there yet. Now this is one of those levels that, you know, you could tell really inspired Space Megaforce, where you go through it and it's just a ton of background objects to destroy, lots of point icons and things like that. So, I forgot to mention these little pink spheres. I believe those actually upgrade your main firepower. But, since I'm basically maxed out right now, they're not really doing anything. If you pick up some of your other weapons... Let's see if it does it with this one. Number 3... No, it doesn't do it with the numerical icons, but... Things like the missiles and the homing, I'm sorry, missiles and the full fire shot and the shield icons, the M, F, and S icons, like up here. If you collect those, it might have to be the same one that you already have, but it'll give you a bomb. So if you look in the bottom right-hand portion of the screen, you've got your lives. So right now I have 7 lives, which is pretty solid. And I'm sure I'll have more by the end of the game. Assuming I don't die. I will probably die, but assuming I don't die. But yeah, beneath your lives are your bombs. I have 14 bombs right now. What I'm going to do is actually try to just save them. Try to save them for near the end of the game where things do get a little bit tricky. Especially if you die. I mean, especially if you die, it gets quite difficult. Now, one other aspect I haven't mentioned yet is occasionally you get these spheres that come out that scroll through your weapons, and by shooting them, it'll actually stop it on whatever weapon is currently selected. And they brought this into Space Megaforce as well. And just like Space Megaforce afterwards, if you shoot it enough, it'll blow up into like a glow flashing sphere. And if you collect that, there it is. It's a bomb, basically. And it clears everything off the screen. So something good to know. It takes a lot of hits in this one to activate it. Much more so than the it does in Space Megaforce on Super Nintendo. So we're probably getting close to the mini-boss. And look, it's doing it again. This time for the, you know... Oh, there is homing. Okay. So there's 4 of them. And bam, got another bomb for that. I have 16 bombs. And apparently he doesn't shoot at me, so that made it pretty easy. Oh, no main boss. Okay. I guess that was just a short level. Okay, good to know. I'll take that. So now we're back to the soundtrack being a little bit faster, a little more aggressive, you know, a little more shmup fitting, unlike that second level. The third level tune was still pretty solid too. But if I recall correctly, the next level I think is the desert stage, and the music again just takes a major step backwards, and you're just kind of like, ugh. I wish they just left these levels out. That or just, you know, gave them really good music. You know what game has me spoiled on the PC Engine in terms of music? It's, well, games, I should say. It's both Dragon Spirit and Dragon Saber. Games by Namco. And, really phenomenal soundtracks on those games. I highly recommend checking those out if you haven't. Dragon Saber in particular is really impressive on the system, but you don't really hear that many people talking about it. They are different styles of shooters than this one. They're both vertical shooters, but they're much harder. They're much more direct with their enemy placement. Like every time you play it, the enemies are always in the same spot. Or at least it's easier to tell they are, because they're not just floating at the top of the screen on every pattern. Floating from the top of the screen on every pattern. So, if there's a set enemy design in this, it's just much harder to tell due to the nature of how the enemies come out. But yeah, Dragon Spirit, Dragon Saber, just like great soundtracks all the way through both those games. So it really has me spoiled when I come back and I play something like this, and the music is just kind of all over the place, you know. You got a great tune 1 minute, and then, you know, the music doesn't always have to be super upbeat and aggressive, but it should fit the experience, you know. And some of the music in this game just doesn't fit, in my opinion. Whereas, like, in the Dragon Spirit and Dragon Saber games, even when the music is no longer really fast, it still fits. It's either really eerie, or it's, you know, It's just got a slower beat, but it's just really nice sounding, and it just seems to fit the environment that they've got drawn up for the game. A great example is, I think it's either stage 3 or stage 4, probably stage 3 on Dragon Saber, where you're like inside this, you know, this structure of some kind, and the music just slows down to a crawl, but it's just got this like hauntingly eerie, melodic vibe to it, and it just fits perfectly. Whereas in this game, the music might slow down, but it's just kind of like really bland, monotonous stuff. Alright, so we're actually going through these levels a little bit faster than it seemed like when I was playing on stream the other day. Although, then again, I haven't died yet, so... And I think I did die a couple of times on stream. Or was that a mini-boss? No. Okay, cool. Alright, so now we're at least halfway through the game, maybe a little bit farther than halfway through the game, because again, I think there's only 9 stages, so if there are just 9 stages, then we are a little over halfway. But here's the desert level I was talking about. And yeah, not super complex like most stages in this game. You're going to be popping the tops off a lot of little mini pyramids. There's going to be some Moai heads. For some reason, I have no idea. I have no idea why. Again, for anybody that may have seen the Japanese movie Gunhead, I'm really curious how this actually compares to it. I am really curious, actually. Really wish I had a good opportunity to use that bomb, but there was nothing on screen. Alright, switch back over to the shield. There you go. It seems like when you're not using the shield power-up, when you do take damage, whatever shield you do have seems to go away faster. I think. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but that's what it felt like when I was playing this on stream the other night. Another aspect I forgot to mention, guys, is I did mention that if you die at bosses, there is a checkpoint system. However, when you die during normal gameplay, there isn't a checkpoint system, so you'll actually just respawn right out, which is nice. I like that. You know, I'm used to checkpoints in games like R-Type and whatnot, but for vertical shooters that are really fast-paced, I'm not really a huge fan of checkpoints. I feel it just kind of kills the flow of the game. Yeah, I understand, like, having checkpoints makes it a lot harder to credit feed your way through a game. But, you know, to me, if you're playing for high score, if you die, chances are you've ruined your whole run anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you just come back out. I think for the people that just want to have fun, you know, instant respawning is the way to go. Maybe it's just from living in North America. You know, most Japanese, well, not most, but a lot of Japanese shmups that were released over in North America removed the harsh checkpoint systems that many Japanese shooters had. You know, a great example is Twin Cobra, as well as Raiden, or Raiden. Both of those had their checkpoint systems removed, or at least, if they were adjustable in dip switch settings, they made it to where the default was instant spawning and not a checkpoint system. So oh shit, I died. See, now that I have no firepower, now the game is difficult. Go figure, right? Ay, ay, ay. Alright, we'll just do this weapon for now. So yeah, at bosses, this game has a checkpoint system. Not at bosses, the game does not. So, the TurboGrafx controller actually has turbo switches on it. And I'm not using those. This game has stock auto fire by default, so there's really no need to use the turbo switches. Oh, the level's over already. Great. Oh. So yeah, there's no need to use the turbo switches on this game. It's got auto fire built right in. Oh, this is the bubbles level. Great. Wait, no it's not. Or is it? I don't remember. I remember this part in the very beginning. Where enemies sort of come out in the style of like the challenging stages on Galaga. Really need some upgrades here. There's my shield. Yeah, I should have stuck with the shield. You notice my shield on my body is really, really tiny now, so... Yeah, that's why I always go with the shield power-up. It just seems like it's so much better. I wonder if 16 bombs is the max. Because I did not get a bomb from that or that. Yeah, 16 might be the max. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. I'm sure I'm going to have quite a few Blazing Lazers experts out there watching. I'm sure I'm also going to have a lot of people leaving comments saying I'm totally wrong about how great this game is. But that's understandable. Totally understandable. Yeah, I've gotten multiple shield power-ups now without without taking hits, and it hasn't been giving me bombs, so let's test that theory. So I just used the bomb. I got 15 bombs now. Come on. Yeah, 16 is your max. I just got a bomb from that, so... Alright, we're gonna need to switch over to, my laser firepower again. I like the spread shot of this weapon, but the look at the spacing. They go so fast that it gives you the illusion that it's shooting out a lot of shots. But in reality, it's not, unless you get right next to an enemy. Like, look how fast you're coming out now, you know? Basically, unless you're point blanking an enemy. Or a boss or something like that. So we're switching back over here, yeah. Now, if I get the full here, it's going to actually change the dynamic of this weapon. So it turns into a homing laser, which I actually don't like that much because it leaves you wide open. Did we just... Oh, great. I switched it over at the wrong time, but whatever. Ah, it's this boss. Okay. What? Ooh, no checkpoint in this boss. Shit. Well, this is going to be a little bit tricky now. I actually did this exact same thing. You have to fight a lot of these bosses over again when you get to the final stage. And... Alright, now we're using turbo. I did the exact same thing. I died at this boss the second time you had to fight him. Or fight it. And basically lost all my firepower, so I'm just like, ugh. And that's why you have the shield power-up. That's why you want to use the shield power-up, because you'll die almost instantly if you don't have it. If I had the shield power-up, I wouldn't have died there. I made the mistake of switching over just to show you guys, and then paying the price for it. But I also don't want to waste my bombs. You know, I could just be bombing him to death, but I don't really want to do that. There we go. That should be the main boss. I think. Yes. Alright, we're actually getting close to the end now. That's good. And this stage, I think, has a mini-boss. I think it goes on longer. Yeah, this level is very much a, similar to the first level. Oh yeah, mini-boss rush, that's right. So, yeah. How's it going, guys? I'm at that point where I don't know what to say. Go ahead and use this time to, I am trying to focus, actually. That's the nature of Let's Play and shmups. You kind of, like, zone out, start focusing because you don't want to die. You especially don't want to die during a Let's Play. Because that's just embarrassing. I've already done it twice, so I'm already embarrassed enough, guys. So come on. But as usual, post your comments below in the description button. The comments box. The description box is for me, not you. Post some comments below. I'm curious to know your opinions on this game. Compile shmups in general, actually. I mean, have you played any of the other ones that they've done, like Alesta? Musha, etc., etc. I know Alesta is just a big series, but when I say Alesta, I mean like the MSX originals, and then Power Strike on the Master System, which was also just Alesta in Japan, I think. Was it on Master System just Alesta in Japan, or was it also Power Strike in Japan? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not so good with my video game history these days. But you could also tell me what your favorite shooters are on the PC Engine, aside from Blazing Lazers, because I know a lot of you are gonna say, Blazing Lazers! Seems to be what everybody's favorite is in the system. I gotta say, I wish I still had a Turbo Duo, so I could play some Spriggan. Spriggan was pretty cool. Not as amazing as I had expected, but it was still pretty cool. I would like to eventually Let's Play that. But that's going to require me obtaining another Turbo Duo. Which probably isn't going to happen for a long time, unfortunately. What? Did you guys see that? What the hell, man? Christ. Did I not have the shield power up? I was pretty sure I did. Why did I die in one hit? See, guys, now I have to actually play smart. Maybe physical objects, you die in one hit no matter what? I don't know. I know that's how it is in some other shooters. Like, if you get hit by bullets and you've got some shields, you know, you'll sort of suck up that damage. But in other games, if you, like, run into an object, like a physical object, not a bullet, but, like, an enemy, or... you'll die instantly, no matter what. So maybe that's how it works in this game. And, oh, okay, there we go. Area 7 clear, good. Sometimes you just don't know if you finished until it actually pops up on screen, so... Alright, this is our bubbles level. Oops, I didn't want that. I really did not want that. Oh, jeez. So some of these bubbles you can take out, some of these bubbles you cannot. Really bad mistake on my part. I wouldn't have died if I didn't pick up the #1 firepower, because the #1 firepower is useless! Yeah! Great! I still have 10 lives. We're probably good. We're probably gonna beat the game. And, you know, as usual, I forgot to make the disclaimer when I first started this Let's Play, is I don't make any guarantees actually beating these games. Especially Blazing Lazers is a game I don't really play very often. Ever. Every time I try to play it, I get bored by the second or third level, and I turn it off. And that's what happened when I streamed it 2 times ago. Many months ago, I tried streaming Blazing Lazers, and I ended up just turning it off partway through. I was like, boring. And, but I did beat it on stream the other day. I persevered and I made it all the way through. But, you know, even that said, I still don't make any guarantees trying to go through these games. Particularly games I'm just not that well practiced at. And especially really difficult games, which I wouldn't really call this a really difficult game. It gets tough when you die, but it doesn't take long for you to get powered up again. Especially if you make dumb mistakes like I'm doing right now. Alright, we're clicking the turbo on, guys. I am really curious if anybody has seen this movie, Gunhead. I want to know if a level or an area of bubbles was in the movie. Or if it really is just as out of place in the game as it seems. When I was playing this on stream the other night, I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Bubbles? Like, I know Gradius 3 had bubbles, but for some reason it felt like it fit in that game. You know, at least the whole level you were like floating through like this water body kind of thing. And then this is just floating bubbles in space. Like, couldn't you just avoid all the bubbles? Like, fly around the cluster of bubbles and then target the boss? No? So, like, bubbles in a starfield, or like with the starfield background, just doesn't seem threatening to me. Especially not when it's the second to last level. Alright, we're switching up. No mini boss yet, huh? And this level really drags on. It's like there's a lot of blank space, then there's nothing. And more nothing, and more nothing. Oh, look, then there's enemies! And it's crazy for like a second, and then there's blank space. Boss, apparently, so that's good. Ah, yes, this is the main boss. The Skull Defender of the Bubbles. I have no idea what it is. Again, if anybody's seen the movie, I'm really curious to know if any of these creatures or objects or bosses make an appearance in the movie, Gunhead. So again, I know the game was called Blazing Lazers in North America, but I don't believe there was any difference to the gameplay or bosses or anything like that compared to the Japanese version that we're playing right now, so... This guy, it seems like you can only do damage to him when his mouth is open. And that's a gimmick that they use for a lot of bosses. Like, the bosses have to be in a very particular state for you to do damage to them, usually when there's an opening of some kind. And the opening isn't always obvious. Like in the case of this, it's just kind of like, okay, well, okay, I realize I can... he's only taking damage when his mouth is open. So, yeah. No, my shield came in handy. Except for the fact that I lost all my firepower. but that's better than losing a life. Much better than losing a life. Alright, this should be the final stage, I think. Oh, man. Yeah, probably not a good point in the game to not have any firepower. Like, seriously. Alright, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're gonna make it happen. We got 13 lives to extinguish. To burn through. Of course, if I die, we're gonna burn through them pretty quickly. I've got to say, this game feels insanely long. What? Checkpoint? I have no idea how the checkpoint system freaking works. All I know is it's really damn annoying. So apparently sometimes you get a checkpoint, sometimes you don't. So we'll just not get a checkpoint. And this is bullshit, man. Fucking bullshit. Pardon my French. Wow. So we go through all that to most likely get absolutely destroyed and not beat the game. Amazing. Gives me one more reason to hate this game. Oh my god, look at this. I'm gonna be really disappointed if we don't get continues. Look at that. The freaking weapons spawner appeared on the other side of the screen this time. Look, there's no freaking consistency in this game. No consistency at all. Anybody out there that knows how the checkpoint system works, please post a comment below. I am really curious at this point, because this is annoying. And I'm gonna persevere, guys. I've got 8 tries. But still, it's just extremely frustrating. Ay, ay, ay. What? The fuck, man? Are you fucking kidding me? He's gonna start me all the way back here? I just went through like 5 minutes of gameplay. This makes absolutely no sense. This is so stupid, man. This is retarded. Fucking retarded. Oh, and I'm running out of bombs too. But it looks like if you dip below 3, they give you 3 bombs when you die. Okay, so that's... This is absolutely idiotic. If I had an actual Blazing Lazers card right now, I would be ripping it out of my system and probably snapping it in half. Because this is dumb. I'm gonna boost up my speed. Something I forgot to mention is you can boost your speed in this game. Jeez, man. Last try. So look, like, I beat the mini-boss, and the mini-boss apparently isn't a checkpoint. They're like, you gotta go back before the mini-boss, you know, if you die after this. It's ridiculous, man. I hate it when games have, like, no attention to detail when it comes to checkpoints and things like that. It's just frustrating. And yeah, I know it's supposed to be a challenge, but there's a point where, like, it just becomes no fun. Like, your checkpoints are so stupid, like, you might as well just throw the game across the room and never play it again. Because there are better games to be played. That's the point. There are better games to be played that are more fun. Better games with better checkpoint systems. That's my point. I know I'm sounding like a whiny little bitch right now, but I'd much rather play games that are well thought out than games that really have no thought put into them. And Blazing Lazers to me is a game that has very little thought put into it. There's a lot of little inconsistencies in the game that just make it very frustrating. Very annoying in some places, but extremely frustrating in others. And I mean, look at how long we've played. If I die, we're gonna go all the way back before that that mini-boss. Now it's like I really have to play smart here. I guess that was the whole point, right? Now, if I recall correctly, this is the final boss. Very out of place, so I'm really curious if this was in the movie. When I got to this part on stream the other night, people were like, what the hell? Wow, so apparently I got hit. Great. So this guy, you pretty much have to sit dead center of him, and of course, you can't hit him until his weak spot opens. And I think that's it. Apparently I have 51 lives now. I guess I got so many points, I got 50 extra lives. Wow. Oh my god, that's Blazing Lazers. Screw this game. Screw this game. Screw this game. Screw that final level. That shit sucked. And all it was just a really bad checkpoint. Like, you know, yeah, this is a really hard part, and then we're gonna have the player fight a mini boss, and then the next part's kind of easy. So like, even though it takes like 5 minutes to get through it, if they die at the easy part, they should go all the way back to the really hard part. Yeah, because that makes sense, right? Like I think I had what, like 11 or 12 lives when I got to that point. I went all the way down to 0, and then magically got an extra life, destroying some enemies at that checkpoint. And cool down, Austin. Cool down. Don't be negative. It's just Blazing Lazers. It's not that good. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry for anybody out there that really loves this game. I just can't stand this game. You know, in the very beginning of the video, I was like, I'm gonna give my thoughts on it, but I'm gonna remain relatively level-headed about it. And then that last level was just like, that set me off. I just want to punch the guys who made this game. I know it's a moot point. It was almost 30 years ago, but goddamn. Ugh. At least I can finally say I've done a Let's Play on this game. And, I'll never have to play it again. So apparently the movie was made by Toho. So I'm gonna need to look into that and see what the movie was all about. I was wondering why Toho's name was on here, and then I realized, duh, it's based on a movie. Toho must have made the movie. So... the end. Alright guys, enough negativity for one day. I'm gonna head off. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. If you want more angry shooter Let's Plays, feel free to check out my Raiden Project Let's Play for the PlayStation, and my R-Type Super CD, R-Type Complete Super CD-ROM attempted playthrough for the Turbo Duo as well. Those are very angry Let's Plays where I get extremely frustrated. So if you like more, if you want to see more of this where I get angry, then you can check out those videos. But for the most part, I'm not usually like this when I do Let's Plays. Usually I do Let's Plays of games I really like, and I don't really like Blazing Lazers. Alright guys, I'm out. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys soon.